Okay. So we're on page 585. So multiply by the square root of 3 on top and bottom. So that becomes 3 times the square root of 3 on top. On bottom, I get 2 times, what's the square root of 3 times the square root of 3? 3. It's the square root of 9, which is 3. It's always just that number without the square root. That's the whole point of multiplying by the square root of 3, is so that it gets rid of, the square root. Now I know I can multiply those together. Let's see what's going to happen here. Those 3's are going to cancel. And so we just get square root of 3 over 2. And that's going to be easier to work with.
So we just couldn't have it on the bottom?
Say that again?
Like, we just put the square root on the top instead of having it on the bottom?
Yes, but then it also got rid of the 3 on top. But yes, we got rid of the square root on the bottom because used to, we couldn't have square roots on the bottom. It's called rationalizing the denominator. But that's just something you need to know how to do because later on we'll be doing rationalizing the numerator and all sorts of different things. You may not, but you may when you get to college algebra. All right. Anything else? All right. So the second box says make a note of the 2 possible quadrants. So remember yesterday, I think it was yesterday. No, day before yesterday. We talked about the quadrants go this way. And we said all students take calculus, right? Every junior in here is going to be in calculus next year. I got one look from one. The other people are not looking at me, and I got one looking at me like, what? Not me. All right.
Taking apologize. I'm not taking a math. Sorry.
That's okay. I will hunt y'all down.
Shut no. This is it. I'll stop by.
I'll stop by. Good. All right. So all students take calculus. So cosine up here, is this positive or negative? Positive, right? So it's positive in which 2 quadrants cosine is?
S, 1 and 4.
A and C, so 1 and 4. These 2 quadrants, right? Because C says, hey, cosine's positive here, and A is all. So 1 and 4. Step 3. I'll read about that. Step 3, regardless of what they say, we have a square root of 3 and a 2. So we need to be thinking of our 2 special right triangles. We have 2 of them. One is 45, 45, 90. And 30, 60, 90. Do you remember what the sides are in a 45, 45, 90? 1, 1, square root of 2. And the other one?
1, 2.
Yes. The 1 is across from the 30. Across from the 60 is the square root of 3. And the hypotenuse is 2. Those are important to know, especially before our next test, which is going to be next week. I didn't write it down up there. It's early next week. Okay. So, I think it's Tuesday and Wednesday. Actually,
Made me nervous even though I'm
We don't
not
come
here.
Oh yeah, it could be digital. Just so you know, there's still going to be digital work. So you're probably going to have a test Tuesday and Wednesday next week.
We have a test next week?
Yes. This is the very last section.
We just had one.
No, we had a quiz.
Okay, but right before that we had a test.
Yeah.
Well, we have a test right before every. Yeah, that's normal. About every other week we have a test. And this is a shorter section.
Will that be on midterms?
Probably not, but I don't know. It depends on when they're pulled.
Just kind of give me a second.
Okay. So, let's see. There we go. I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So I have square root of 3 over 2. So based on these numbers, which kind of angle, or triangle, sorry, do you think it is? Yeah, it makes sense, right? Because it has a square root of 3 and a 2 in it. So it makes sense that that would be this 30, 60, 90 triangle. And cosine, if we think back to SOHCAHTOA, cosine is what over what? Adjacent over hypotenuse. So I need the adjacent side to be the square root of 3. So would that be for the 60-degree angle or the 30-degree angle to be? Yeah, adjacent is the square root of 3. So notice if 30 degrees is your angle, then you have opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. So I know my reference angle has to be a 30-degree angle. So we have it in angle in quadrant 1 and quadrant 4. So I'm going to draw these two. In quadrant 1, that's got to be a 30-degree angle. In order for adjacent to be square root of 3 and the hypotenuse to be 2. And then I need the next one to be in quadrant 4. Again, I need...
Teachers, excuse interruption. Seniors, please turn in your computers at the end of the day to the tech room. All seniors.
We still have that book. We get iPads.
So that's 30 degrees also, at reference angle, which means how much is this red, I'm about to change it to purple, how much is this angle going to be?
330.
Yeah, good. Because the whole thing is a circle, and I have 30 degrees of it right here, so what had to be left was 330 degrees. So that tells us our answers are going to be 30 degrees and 330 degrees. I don't know. Is there a blank sheet? No, there's not. We need a blank sheet of paper in here. Because we're going to add one before I get to the bottom one here. They don't do enough for me. Okay. So let's say I asked you to find this, the sine of 225 degrees. So if they give you the angle, I guess equals x. They give you the angle, it's a little bit easier. We want to draw the picture first because we already know exactly what the angle looks like. quadrant